Whispers in the nursery. Every night I heard the unmistakable sound of a baby crying. I thought it was coming from my newborn, but each time the baby monitor showed my child sleeping peacefully. I asked my wife about it, but she insisted she heard nothing and dismissed my concerns, suggesting I might be hearing things. I tried to ignore it, but the cries continued, haunting my nights. One evening, my mother invited me over for dinner. I asked my wife to join me, but she declined, her eyes flickering with strange concern. She expressed a deep dislike for my mother and an unwavering resolve not to leave the baby behind. Her reaction was more intense than usual. She was almost frantic, her voice rising in a pitch of desperation. "I can't leave the baby alone," she insisted, a hint of fear in her eyes. I can't. When I suggested hiring a babysitter or bringing the baby along, she vehemently refused, her face pale and hands trembling. "No!" she shouted, her voice shaking. "I need to stay here. The baby needs me." Her reaction was so exaggerated and filled with such intense emotion that I couldn't push the matter further. Reluctantly, I went alone. The drive to my mother's house was unusual. Her old Victorian home sat isolated at the edge of town, surrounded by thick woods. The towering trees cast long shadows over the gravel driveway, and the house itself seemed to loom out of the darkness, its windows like hollow eyes watching my approach. An eerie fog clung to the ground, swirling around my feet as I walked to the front door. My mother greeted me warmly, but I didn't feel any warmth. As we finished dinner, she inquired about my troubles. Hesitantly, I shared the eerie experiences, and as I spoke, her expression shifted from curiosity to shock and profound sadness. The room fell silent, a heavy tension hanging in the air. Finally, with a concerned look, she asked, "Have you still not gotten over it?" The atmosphere grew heavier with her words. I could hear the wind howling outside, the branches scraping against the windows like skeletal fingers. My mother's face was a mask of sorrow, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I stared at her, confused and desperate for answers, but the sense of dread only deepened, as if I am waiting for a truth that I wasn't ready to face.